doing with their leg is altering the microphone. It just looks terrible from here.
Hi, my name is Poppy, and today I'm talking to you about the fossil hunting holidays that I've gone on with my family and friends. Some of the places we have been are Kalbarri, Bringo and Gingin. Kalbarri is about 600 kilometres north of Perth on the Murchison River. We went there for the honeymoon after Mum and Dad got married. Bringo is about 450 kilometres north of Perth near Gingin. We went there with some family and friends over the holidays. Gingin is about 100 kilometres north of Perth. We went there with our friends again for a day trip. But before you go fossil hunting, you need some gear. Here you see my little sister Willow modelling the latest fossil finding fashion, while simultaneously looking grumpy. Fossil hunting gear. You need hammer, glasses, brush, hat, gloves, apron, bags and containers, notebook, and a camera. The first place we went was Kalbarri. The rocks in this area are Tumblagooda Sandstone. They form from sand deposited in river deltas and tidal flats. They were laid down during the Ordovician about 450 million years ago. The rocks were formed when Australia was part of the supercontinent Gondwana, but was just starting to move away. Most animals and plants were still living in the oceans at this time, with some of them just starting to move onto land. The rocks show some of the first evidence of large animals walking onto land, and I don't mean my brother Noah. They think the tracks were made by an arthropod walking across the wet sand of the beach or river. We found them just off the path near the lookouts. The tracks were probably made by urchins, which are giant sea scorpions. Some of them grew to about 2 meters long. They had fierce and crab-like pincers or needle-like claws for grabbing prey. We found this little track on a boulder down in a riverbed down in Murchison Gorge. These are what some of them look like, but I like to think they look more like these. There is a funny story about urchins in Richard Fordy's book, Life in an Unauthorized Biography. The Slinonia, a urchin the size of a tall man in the Natural History Museum in London, which sits inside a 6-foot-long slab of sandstone, once fell on Richard Fordy's assistant's toe, showing that it could still do damage some 400 million years after its demise. What you see here are trace fossils called Skolithos. They are vertical burrows in the sand, probably made by worm-like creatures. We were just driving home when we saw these, so we stopped and me and Dad got out to have a look. The rocks also have some cool sedimentary features like cross-bedding, gravel and pebble beds, and ripple marks. The next place we went to was Bringo. We found some big rocks on top of the hill which had been dug out of railway cutting nearby. The rocks are Newmarracarra Limestone. They were deposited in a warm shallow sea during the mid-Jurassic, about 175 million years ago. This was happening when Australia was starting to break away from India and dinosaurs were walking the land. My favourite things we found are belemnites. Belemnites are ancient squid-like creatures. The part that you usually find is called the guard, and it helps the belemnite to balance. This is how they are found and how we get them out. So you find them in a rock, and chisel them away, and this is where it like when it came out to pass. This ammonite is my other favourite fossil, and I got super excited when we found it. There are also lots of shells that I like as well. We also went to Gingin on a day trip with our friends, Ari, Pippa, Ben and Jerry. We climbed Molecap Hill to the quarry to find the fossils. These rocks are Gingin chalk and Molecap Greensand. They were deposited in a warm tropical sea during the late Cretaceous, about 85 million years ago. This was happening after Australia had separated from Gondwana and dinosaurs were walking the land and plesiosaurs were swimming in the seas. The farmer had dug out the top of the paddock behind the quarry, so there was lots of new chalk on the surface. Some of the fossils we found were ammonites, clams, worm tubes, sea lilies, and sea urchins. That's the Gingin chalk up there. This is all the Molecap Greensand. That's me, and these are our little trainees, Pippa and Willow. We found this big ammonite on a hill. We found both parts, but we didn't realise they joined together until later. It's about 25 centimetres long. We think it's a Newmarracarra, which are uncommon according to Ken McNamara's fossil book guide. For the end of the talk, I will show you where these fossils fit in the geological timescale. On my nose, where is the first life on Earth appears, all the way to my fingertips, which is now. All these fossils are within the last 500 million years, which fits on my hand. Thank you for listening.